Welcome to the Holiday Decor Podcast, your source for the year-round celebration of holiday hope and seasonal cheer. To help you usher season's greetings into your home, here's your host, Ann McDonald.
Baubles and Bling, Baubles and Bling, wreaths, centerpieces, all the fancy. Hi, this is Ann McDonald, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Holiday Decor Podcast. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Do you have a large home that you need to get party ready this season? Do you have a house that's over 3,000 or 4,000 square feet and you're thinking to yourself, I do not know where to start? Well, if that's the case, we have an exciting free training just for you. And this free training is going to help you decorate your large home, church, or property without busting the bank or spending countless wasteful hours trying to get everything done. So join us for our upcoming free exclusive webinar, How to Decorate Your Party-Ready 4,000 plus square foot space, where you and I will unpack the secrets to stylishly elevating your holiday decor this season on a budget. We're going to train you just like we train our professional holiday decorators. So don't miss this opportunity to elevate your holiday space. If you're responsible for decorating the church this year, or you're decorating your friend's house or your own home, and it is a large space, don't get overwhelmed. Go right now and register for your free ticket at our upcoming webinar at www.holidaydecorhome.com. That's right, go directly to www.holidaydecorhome.com. Goodness gracious, Baubles and Bling. How many of you grew up with someone who wasn't quite as fancy as you were? Hi, this is Ann McDonald, and if you don't know me, I am the founder of the Holiday Decor School Training Institute podcast and just, well, someone who loves the holiday season. And in this episode, we're going to talk about garlands. How many of you love garlands the way that I do? Well, garlands are kind of like really the little black dress of holiday decor, in my opinion. Garlands can save a really ugly and old Christmas tree. You just wrap them into the Christmas tree. Garlands can even save, maybe a wreath that's seen better days. You get a garland and you wrap it around the existing wreath and voila, you've got something wonderful. Garlands can save just about anything in Christmas decor. So what I want to talk about this week is a time-honored tip. You know, sometimes we go into clients' homes and they don't want the whole refresh. They don't want the whole redo with all new materials, but they do understand that with a little bit of help, we can take their ordinary holiday decor and make it extraordinary. So that's what we're going to talk about this week. Baubles and Bling, creating custom garlands from easy to source retail materials. Now, some of you may know this story, some of you may not, but I get asked this question a lot. And how did you even get into holiday decor in the first place? So to make a very long story short, and I want to ask you a question before I even tell you this. How many of you have ever been in a situation where you're like, you see something and you're like, I have to fix it? Right? Do you ever go into a store and you're like, that arrangement is bad and I'm actually going to fix it? You go over to your friend's house and you're like, oh, no, I can't rearrange your books, but oh my goodness, I can make this so much better, right? Do you know what I'm talking about, right? You go into somebody, like anywhere you go, you actually start to see what could, with a little tweak, maybe a little adjustment, it could actually be better, right? Thank God for chiropractors, right? They know how to do that with our backs. Well, here's how the whole thing started for me. I had a client, we'd done her home, it was beautiful, but she brought out her holiday decor and it needed some serious help. Okay, now I've been there too. I brought out my holiday decor from past seasons. I'm like, yep, it is time for a redo. Well, the whole concept of taking and crafting custom garlands from ready-made retail products, well, that's actually where I started in the whole holiday decor space, if you will. So that's why this episode in particular is super special to me. So What do I mean by crafting custom garlands, right? From easy to source retail materials. What are you talking about, Ann? Well, how many of you have ever been to Costco and seen their garlands, right? You know what a garland is, right? It's that long thing that's maybe 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet. Sometimes they're 8 and 12 feet. They can be real, they can be fake, but it's like a line of materials that you can actually change shapes on. You can move it around. You can put it on your dining table, on your mantle. Well, how many of you have ever been to Costco and you've seen the garlands, right? In the boxes. Or maybe you've been to Walmart and you've seen them there. Or maybe you've gone into Michael's Crafts and they have the garlands, they have them hanging. So you walk in, it's like all these different garlands are hanging on the walls. You just walk through and you can just see all the different styles and colors, and it's super awesome. But how many of you have ever bought a garland? Let's go into Michael's for a minute in your own head, because I'm pretty sure you've been into a Michael's Crafts before, or even a Hobby Lobby, right? And you go in and you buy the garland and you pay, I don't know, $30 to $50 for it. Or maybe you get it on sale and you pay $10 for it, right? And you get it home and you're like, it looks so much better in the store, right? You're like, it just kind of falls flat. Do you know what I'm talking about? Well, here's what happened with my client. I was like, hey, I'm going to help you get your holiday decor so it looks as pretty as the rest of your house. We'll just try this out. We'll spend a little bit of money. You give me this, tell me what you absolutely have to include and I'll figure out a way to make this thing look good. She was like, okay, go for it. So what I did was I went around to all these stores. I was like, I did not have time to be ordering custom. And at the time, I wouldn't even have known where to start doing that. So I went to Costco. I went to Walmart. I think I even went to Ace Hardware. I went to Home Goods, TJ Maxx, Ross, all these different places. And I was like, okay, I think if I get a whole bunch of garlands, then I can go ahead and just mix them in and it'll work. So here's what happened. I got a whole bunch of garlands, spent a whole bunch of money, got them back to my house, and I was, playing around with them at my house, took them out of the boxes, cut off the tags. I was like, okay, I own these garlands now. We got to do something with them. And it was like, they just didn't look good, right? They looked better in the store than they did on my table, on my work table in my design studio, on my dining table in my dining room. I'm like, this is like, you ever buy something and you're like, it doesn't look like the picture. Well, that's what I was dealing with. So I was like, there has to be a way to take these garlands that are, I just spent a lot of money on and actually make them better. How do I actually zhuzh them up without kind of ruining the look? And that's what I want to unpack with you today. So there are 2 things that I consistently use. You can probably guess what they are based on the title of this episode. But there are 2 things that I consistently use to zhuzh up some store-bought garlands. Those are Baubles and Bling. All right, now, what do I mean by Baubles and Bling? What do you mean, Ann? How are we going to do this? Well, last week, if you listened to last week's episode, you heard me talk about mastering the floral flourish and what we use to, zhuzh up the flourishing florals in each room, kind of the ta-da moments in each room. Well, with the garlands, we do sort of the same thing. Only because they're garlands, we actually have to take a little more care. So let's start with the baubles first. What is a bauble? Well, a bauble, in my mind, is really just a round ornament of varying sizes that we can buy very inexpensively, even at places like, get ready guys, yeah, I'm gonna say it, the dollar store. All right, now I make high-end custom holiday decor, but I also set aside a budget every year for the dollar store. Why? Because there are some things based on their buying power that they are just absolutely able to source in a way that we cannot. So Baubles, I will, set aside a healthy budget at the dollar store, and we will buy the round ornaments in a bunch of different sizes, even the round plastic ones. Why? Because those can actually dress up a normal store-bought garland very easily. Now, I'm not going to go into it because I shared with you the tips last week, but there are a couple of different things that I do with these round ornaments to actually make them special. They involve things like, well, I'll just give it to you here. They involve things like custom paint colors, leafing, real or fake, Mod Podge. You can use the Mod Podge to add like tissue paper or fabric, and then sparkly things like, I don't really like glitter, but I do like to roll things in the crystals and the little mini mirror flecks. So when I talk about baubles, that's what I'm talking about. We get a whole bunch of rounds in a bunch of different sizes and then dress them up so that they become, well, baubles, okay? And we put those in the garland. The other thing I love to do, well, I'm going to share that with you after we listen to this week's episode of Tinsel Time.
Welcome to Tinsel Time, where we enjoy something extravagant every week just for fun. Want a holiday decor look that's completely over the top? Use faux fur as your baseline. To make this look work, you should use a fuller, more dense luxury brand. Custom color match your faux fur to your year-round decor for an even more over-the-top look. Beautiful and elegant snow-covered mountain homes, this look coordinates well with shed antlers, pine cones, and our custom holiday garland line, Aspen Winter. You don't need a lot to make this a holiday statement. Use the faux fur on custom-shaped ornaments in several sizes, from small to extremely large, up to 24 inches tall. Use it as table runners, tablecloths, placemats, napkin rings, and even as trim on custom oversized cloth napkins. Use the same faux fur for your Christmas tree duster and custom stockings for a complete looks holiday that could easily land a magazine spread. See a few pictures in our show notes at holidaydecorhome.com.
So baubles and bling, what are baubles? Baubles are those round things that we can get in a gazillion different sizes. And for the most part, I like to start at the dollar store, because what are we talking about this week? We're talking about crafting custom garlands from easy to source materials. Well, and easy to source materials and ready-made retail, well, that includes places like the dollar store. And, Michael's Crafts and other craft stores, Hobby Lobby, Walmart. Like, I am not a snob when it comes to shopping. I will go whomever has the whatever that we're looking for. And here's a quick tip I want to give to you. My heart for you is that you would learn to trust your eye. Trust your creative process. And embrace the process, even if it isn't perfect. Because remember, we talked about this a little bit last week, that one of the most important things you're going to do for your home this holiday season is actually fall in love with it. You're going to look for something that you can be thankful for, and then fall in love with your home again. Accept it as it is and just embrace it. Love it. And that energy, that grace, that blessing that God Himself gives to you for this season, well, that will actually make your holiday decor look better. All right, so let's get back to this piece. When we are crafting custom garlands from easy to source retail materials, there are two things that I really like to use. I think they pack the most punch for the dollar. And that is baubles. Baubles is really round or shaped ornaments in all different sizes, small to extra large. And then bling. Now, bling. What is bling? Well, bling is jewelry, right? Bling is fancy pants. Bling is, diamond this and special that and whatever. But bling really does help elevate a garland, and it gives it a little depth, okay? I want you to think about this for a second. When you have light and reflections in a surface, it actually makes it more lively. It's almost like the item dances. Have you ever been in the room and you've got the lights on the Christmas tree or the garland, and you turn the room lights off, but you leave the sparkly lights on the Christmas tree? You know how beautiful that is? Well, one of the things that bling does in your garland, don't worry, I'm going to share with you a couple of my favorite types of bling to add into custom garlands. One of the things that bling does is it elevates the reflection and the reflective surfaces so that all of a sudden, instead of just having flat, not pretty lights, but just lights on a Christmas tree or lights on your garland, when you add in these bling elements, they actually multiply, almost like a prism. Have you ever seen what a prism does to light? The light goes in, it bends it, it reflects it out, and it makes like these gorgeous rainbows. Well, what we want to do is help you elevate and create custom garland, but using easy to source materials, things that you can find at, readily available retail outlets. Again, like the dollar store, like Walmart, like Hobby Lobby, Michael's Crafts, wherever you want to go. Right? And no, none of those are sponsoring this podcast. But if any of my listeners know somebody who would like to, let me know. Just send us an email. Okay? So when you are creating custom garlands, what I like to do is to buy really basic garlands at the craft store, at Costco, at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, wherever. And then we'll take all of these other elements, the baubles and the bling, and then we'll put them and attach them into the garland. Now, one of the best tools that you can use to attach things to your custom garlands that you're making at home are actually pipe cleaners. Now, I know a lot of people talk about small floral wire and things like that, but one of the reasons I like pipe cleaners is that they're easy to find. Anybody have this? When you're taking the garland apart at the end of the season, okay? Now, when I'm done with my garlands and things, I take all of the pieces out because I know that the next year I'm going to want to do it a little differently. Well, when I use floral wire, which is great, it's awesome, I can get kind of frustrated. Can I admit that to you on the podcast? But when I use pipe cleaners, I'm like, oh, there it is. I can see it. Okay. Now you can get pipe cleaners in all different sorts of materials and things like that. I actually like to use silver pipe cleaners. And I like silver pipe cleaners because when I twist them, I try to get them near to the little lights, and they actually end up reflecting the light, and nobody actually knows they're in there. You might know they're in there because you've seen them, but I actually think they help elevate when they just catch some of the light. So that's a tip that I wasn't even planning on sharing, but there you have it. A lot of times I use silver pipe cleaners to attach my baubles and my bling to my custom garlands. Now, before we wrap this episode on crafting these things from ready-made retail, right, easy to source materials, I want to share with you my top 4 uses for these custom garlands. Okay, who would like to know? Let me know in the chat, right? Who would like to know my top uses for custom garlands? All right, well, the first one is actually wrapping my pots in the front, on my front porch. Okay, so how many of you have like a pot of flowers or something like that on the front porch? Now, this should be covered. A lot of times the materials that we use inside can't be used outside. But one of the things I love to do is to take these garlands and then wrap around the edge of the pot. It just gives it a really nice look, and it's flexible, so you can kind of push it in or pull it out however it needs to go to actually fit the shape of your pot. That's the first one. All right. The second one, it's also outdoors. How many of you have ever seen those beautiful swags, right? The big fancy swags that they have. You'll see them on Pinterest. You'll see them all over the place. And they're wrapped around these gorgeous outdoor lights, and they're just amazing. And they're, I don't know, $750 at front gate. And you're like, there has to be a better way. Well, friend, there is. This is my second favorite place to use garlands, is to actually take them and wrap them around the front porch lights. Okay, that's the second one. The third one, and I'm giving you the unusual places for garlands, right? We all know that we can put garlands on our stair railings and on our dining table and over our mantles. I'm talking about my 4 favorite places to use them that people don't often talk about. All right, so my third favorite one is actually over your mailbox. Now, some of you live in super snowy locations. I mean, we have a cabin in Lake Tahoe, and first there's no mailbox. It's just a little P.O. box, post office, kind of in the middle of nowhere. But we have other homes, and they have mailboxes. And so I like to take the garlands that match the ones that I've wrapped around the front, the pot at the front, the one that I've wrapped around the light at the front, and also take that and wrap it around the mailbox. Now you can wrap it up the stem of the mailbox, or you can wrap it over the mailbox. So very simple. And here's what's really cool that nobody tells you. Now, all of a sudden, these elements are coordinating. So instead of having to buy a special mailbox thing and a special, pot thing and a special lantern thing, all of a sudden you've got these nice garlands that you can reuse year after year after year, that you've added some baubles and bling to, and then you're able to use them and they coordinate with each other. I mean, it's this funny thing. Somebody was like, wow, what'd you do when I'm like, I just used garland. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. Okay, so my fourth and final one. Now this one, some of you may already know this, but I love to use garland on my chandeliers. Okay, really easy. You can literally get a zip tie, put that garland around the bottom of the chandelier, zip tie it, and voila, you are done. And guess what? That chandelier in your front entry hall now matches the light on your front porch, the pot of flowers on your front porch, and your mailbox. So that's a ta-da moment for somebody. How fun would it be to spend a day working on your holiday home design? What would it be like if you could actually create a storyline and a color story for your holiday home? Well, we have an opportunity for you that is new this year called Holiday Decor Live. My team and I have an entire day set aside where you can come in and out and workshop with us and learn how we create fabulous, beautiful, stress-free holiday homes. We'll be sharing with you our happy holiday decorator system and the same process that we train our professional and certified holiday designers in. You can find out more information about the upcoming Holiday Decor Live Masterclass on our website at www.holidaydecorhome.com. Don't miss this one, friends. On January 1st, you're going to be sad if you missed this year's Holiday Decor Live. We have a seat with your name on it. Again, you can find out more information at holidaydecorhome.com. All right, this is Ann McDonald. I hope that you have enjoyed this episode of the Holiday Decor Podcast. If you have not already, share this with a friend. Let's have a happy and blessed holiday season. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. Make sure to check out those show notes at www.holidaydecorhome.com. I want to invite you to subscribe, rate, review, and share the Holiday Decor Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere awesome podcasts are found.
Thank you for listening. For more information and tips on how to turn your home into a place of joy this holiday season, please visit holidaydecorhome.com.